Hello there, survivors, and welcome back to ARK Survival Ascended. Today I've built this steampunk inspired base on ARK Survival Ascended. It's based on pillars, so that means you can easily build it wherever you want. If you have a really cool spot, this will probably fit there. I built it right here on top of the edge, also because there's like a cool pipe here with water flowing out of it, and it just makes for a really nice setting. The build consists out of two main parts. You have the main building with all the crafting, storage and private quarters, as well as the tower, which has your dino pen, a little bit of breeding, hatching dinos. The gachas are in there as well, and you have some place for your flyers, so a little bit of an aviary included too. Plus you just have awesome views from the top of your towers of your surroundings. So it's a really nice all-in-one base that should help you along on your adventures, whether it's on Extinction, Aberration or any other map. This will definitely serve you quite well. So in today's video, I'm going to show you around the whole place, a whole tour of this build. But if you want to see a full step-by-step tutorial of it, please let me know down in the comments below. And as always, of course, if you enjoy these videos and you want to see more, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now, this whole build can be made with just the pieces that are in the game. I've mostly used the skins from the Bob Talltales DLC, so the Frontier skin and the Steampunk skin, as well as a few of the Wasteland skins for the interior. But other than that, you don't really need any mods or cosmetics. Although I did use some of the Dwarven building skins, custom cosmetics for the windows that I have in some places, but normal greenhouse doors are definitely fine as well. Now, I do have a lot of the optional decor that is from mods, as we have all these windmills, we have some of the water wheels on the side, as well as a lot of the steampunk decor in the base itself. Those are all actual mods, so you do have to be on single player or on a server that has added these mods, so it is not cosmetics. You can't use these on official, unfortunately. But I've used the Castle Keeps and Forts mod, the Castlecraft Deco mod, as well as the Steampunk Deco mod. With that being said, let's jump into the build. So here we are on Extinction, where I've built this base right along this nice cliff. And as I said, I mostly did this because of the pipe that comes here with the waterfall, which I think just adds to the whole vibe and steampunk feel of the build. If you're interested in building this in the same location, it's located right here on the map in a little like park area in the sanctuary. It's actually a really nice and peaceful spot with, you know, there's some hostilities, but not too many, so easily survivable, some trees, etc. around. So quite a cool location. And most importantly, it's in the sunlight on Extinction, which, yeah, you have to kind of keep an eye on, of course, because it doesn't move, so it won't change. And yeah, there we go. We have the full build. So as I said, we have the tower on the side, which is mostly like for breeding and gachas, as well as the main building here next to it. And for show, of course, I also added the Zeppelin here in front at the one side, and we have some platforms to take off from, and we have the forge here on this side. But yeah, I really like the way this turned out, even without all the extra details. Like the windmills, of course, really help add to the steampunk feel. But definitely before I added those in, it already looked really, really cool. As well as some of the steampunk decor here, which is definitely really cool for some extra details, but not necessary to make the build what it is. But I am very happy with this one. I'm kind of glad that I went back into the steampunk build, because I didn't enjoy Aberration as much on ASA, but I do think these skins are definitely really cool, and you can build some really cool and funky builds with them, and I think this one encases that a little bit more. So let's do a little tour around before we go into the build. So here on the outside, on the back, we have the big staircase in. We have these platforms for your flyers, as well as a drop-off point here for the forge. You can see the Enki and the RG right here. We have the Zeppelin here as well, and of course we have the main tower there. So on the outside, we have a lot of these cool angles of this build, with yeah, all the different elements that are going on. It's very chaotic. Of course, this build has like windows and roofs everywhere to really embrace that steampunk feel. We have the same kind of big entrance here on this side, as well as a different entrance with the staircase. We have some protection here with the Tesla coils. Added a little tech rex just for show, of course. And yeah, I kind of like the building a lot with all these different roofs and pods. It's a little bit finicky on the inside, but definitely gives you a lot of room still. And then we have, of course, this second tower, which is really cool. You have the walkways around that you could, of course, also park some dinos on. We have a little bit of an example for that here with the snow owl layer. I thought the owlery was quite cool to do, as well as it's actually a library as well, which I found quite fitting. And then, of course, on the top, we have a nice viewing platform for the surrounding areas because, yeah, you're quite high up, so it's a nice tower to use. So let's hop down here and let's take a quick look around. First is the main building, and then we'll move on to the tower itself. So yeah, this one kind of leads into this pipe. I used it now as a platform for my Zeppelin, but that of course is very specific to this location and only really works if you build it on a location like this. But because nothing wild is really gonna get into this pipe anymore because of my build, so this should be relatively safe. Whether you park your Zeppelin here or maybe you park flyers here, should be totally fine. Then we have the Anki right here with a little bit of the visual storage here as the core, and we have the big forge here to smelt, the archery right here, so everything ready for your resource drop off, which I think is quite nice. And then the other side, we have another platform for flyers. In this case, I decided to add a gas bag right here because, you know, I felt like that is an appropriate thing to have here on Extinction. And then we have our lovely build here. So we have a nice dino gate as an entrance. We have some really cool designs here on the front with these pillars and the scaffolding, as well as of course the Rex head. We have a nice little window here with the Frontier skins. These steampunk decors are also really nice for this kind of build. And then these are just doorways, but then using the Dwarven custom cosmetic skins, which is new, you can get some really cool glass windows, which really helps turning these into nice glass windows, and actually looks quite good with the steampunk look. So yeah, we can go into the main build. We can cross over to the other side, of course, where the other entrance is. So in this case, the staircase goes off to the sides, just to kind of give you two different variations of entrances you could build. And of course, you can do whatever you prefer or you need. You could technically take some bigger dinos inside, of course, if you wanted to, but that's kind of all up to you whether you want that or not. And then here on the inside, on the first layer, this is kind of all dedicated to crafting and a little bit of storage. So we have a lot of the crafting stations out here, as well as a little bit of the steampunk decor just to spruce it up. We have the linked storage, the grinder, the fabricator, the preserving bin. The replicator fits inside as well. We have some pipes of the steampunk deco mod to bring more life. And we've got these new wasteland skins that they've added later than the actual launch to the vaults and the other storage things, which are quite cool looking actually. I kind of wish we would get these for all the different packs, so also for steampunk and for the western ones, but these ones are definitely really cool. They feel very ARK because of, well, having the bones in there, like a little bit more of the rusted metal. I feel like it's a nice ARK vibe. So even though they are made for the wasteland pack, I think you can get away with them in a lot of ARK bases to get that ARK feel back into it. So here we have a lot of the storage. I'm using, of course, visual storage, which adds these lovely crates. I probably should have added the items in actually, but yeah, you kind of have a nice storage. But you could also, of course, just use vaults or dedicated storage here, whatever you prefer. And then we have the clock here as well, making sure that we get the boost for our crafting. And we have a tiny little bit of a greenhouse in here. Well, it's not really a greenhouse. There's no actual greenhouse effect, although I guess you could if you wanted to, because well, maybe not. The roof might not have access to the light, but yeah, we have a tiny greenhouse with some plants just to get those seeds or those white traps for the gachas ready. Yeah, and that is kind of this first layer. So then we can of course take the staircase up to the next one, which will bring you into the next layer here, where we have a little bit of storage. We have the tinkering desk, we have the smithy, so kind of a little bit more crafting, as well as a little bit more storage. In my case, mostly visual pleasing with all these barrels. We have walkways as well to the other side if you want to go over here. We have the kitchen with you know, everything that you might need here, as well as the steampunk cooker, which is from the steampunk deco mod, which is really cool to keep the steampunk vibe. We've got the grill over here and a nice big table, and then we can continue to the next layer, which opens up from here. Kind of made just like a nice little lounge room here. Definitely enough space here to do a lot of storage or whatever if you would need it. And it connects on this side as well, so you can easily get here from both sides. So yeah, this is definitely a room that is big enough for extra storage or crafting if you should need it and you want to utilize it in that way. Obviously, I've decorated a little bit more visually pleasing. And we also have some lights to turn on. I don't know why my lights have gone out, but we do have some lights to turn on, which we can add a little bit more life and vibes to the place, as you see. So yeah, it's just like a nice little hangout box or room. That is kind of like the connecting tissue from both sides here of the build. Then the next layer we have is a little bit more of a funky one. We do get some nice light in here. We have a very low roof here on the middle part where we can hang out a little bit more, and then we have the same kind of thing on the other side. This is kind of because we have that intricate design, that steampunk feel, but you could definitely also divide these up into smaller rooms. If you maybe have like a bigger tribe and you have your own separate rooms, this would really work. You definitely have a lot of space and a lot of options in this build. And then this one, the final room at the top, I kind of made my bedroom. So I've got my bed here, some storage. We have a nice little table here. We got some steampunk deco going on. We even have our tech sleeping pod, and then as well personal storage and cryo fridge if I would want it. So yeah, it's definitely a really cool and funky design on the outside, but I think you could definitely still make something very nice and practical on the inside too. Yeah, kind of embracing that steampunk life, of course, and I really like the way it turned out, especially of course the outside, but the inside I think still pretty nice as well. Then here we can leave to this side, which brings us to the walkway, which is connected to the other build. It has like a very slight overlap to the inside, very slight, but yeah, it does have a little bit, but you could of course leave out the last layer if you wanted to. But yeah, we have this layer connecting the two, so it's a little walkway that goes into the walkway that yeah, basically surrounds the entire tower, and you can walk around. We have a bunch of these pipes made out of these water reservoirs as well, which are really cool looking. Again, I've added some of these details that are supposed to be like basically cogs on the side of the build, which I think is a really steampunky thing to do, and this was kind of the best way that I could introduce that in to the game. But yeah, we have the whole tower. I really like the way the tower has come out. I kind of think you could definitely use this just as the tower as a base if you would want to, or of course you could just have the main building if you prefer. But yeah, together of course you do have a really cool themed base, and I'm very excited about this build. It's fun to be jumping back into a little steampunk build, and yeah, definitely like the way this has all come together. But yeah, we have the big tower here with all its layers. So the first layer is mostly like a hatching spot, maybe a little bit of a dino pen for the dinos that can fit inside, but definitely also meant to be practical with yeah, hatching eggs. We've got plenty of cryos. You can do the genes here, the embryo stuff. It's all available, of course. And we have, of course, our feeding troughs. And then we can go up to the next layer, which is then meant for the gachas. So as you can see, you can fit in 2 gachas just cozily chilling out here. I've added some hay from the Western Deco mod, actually. Forgot to mention that in the intro. But yeah, the Western Deco mod for some hay to kind of bring some extra life. And of course, we can't really have more gachas here because then they'll get sad. But at least we can easily have the 2 in here on this layer. And then the next layer is the Snow Owl Library, where we have a bunch of library books all the way around, including some really cool steampunk deco again, and some little hangout spots to read up on your blueprints or whatever, your recipes, whatever you've got stored here. And then you can leave the doors here to the walkway where all the owls are lined up ready for duty, so you can walk around, get to your flyer. I made these little platforms, circles, that you can easily park a flyer on top of, and yeah, kind of allows you to quite easily get access to all of them. That's not all though, that is not where it ends. So we have this entire room, but if we jump up to this one, we can actually go up with the ladder, and of course we have some nice big windows here as well. But for the best view, and especially with windows in ARK not being the greatest, we have this layer. So this is the top of the tower. We have the Western Deco bell here. We also have the actual alarm bell here, and we have some steampunk deco telescopes here to have some extra detail. But mostly, of course, this would give you a really nice view from your surrounding areas, because you're up so high and you can really quite easily get some really cool views from all the way around you. Maybe not very practical necessarily, but it is, I think, a very cool addition. And I guess you could park more flyers up there if you wanted to and you needed to. You definitely have plenty of space there. But yeah, I do really like the way this came together. It feels very steampunk to me. I'm quite happy to see steampunk build in better light than in aberration, and yeah, I quite like these skins, especially the roofs, of course, with these additions. It's just really a nice touch. You can get some really cool things with those, and yeah, I think it's just a nice blend of the Frontier skins and the steampunk skins, and I mean very lightly also the Wasteland ones, but mostly the first two, of course. And yeah, I quite like the way this came together. Hopefully you did as well. If you did, of course, feel free to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and feel free to leave a comment down below if you want to see a full step-by-step tutorial, but also, of course, with your build suggestions for the next build. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.